Today we're chatting with Nicole Alonso, an Oklahoma ward. They're out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They're the filmmakers behind the upcoming film Crawl, Bitch, Crawl. Not off the, or wait, did I say that right? Crawl, Bitch, Crawl.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I almost think to say bitch, crawl, bitch. Just like, which way do you go with that?
There you go.
This is coming from a man that never swears, so it's so funny to hear. Yeah. I'm like, how?
I don't really swear. See, you guys really shouldn't have titles like that. You see what you guys are doing to me?
Yeah, you should see us out if we're at a coffee shop and we meet somebody and they're like, so what do you do? And we're like, well, we just made a film. And they're like, oh yeah, what's the name of it? It's like, Crawl, Bitch, Crawl. And it's the same reaction every time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I mean, from our perspective, I mean, the fact that you switched titles from the original Crawl and now you've added these couple extra words there, I mean, it grabs your attention, and we just spoke to a guy, Adam Leipzig, who is a former executive at Disney, and he's like, one thing that he can't stand with independent film, or not that he can't stand, but one thing that he says we have to get a lot better with is just coming up with better titles. So, we think that's great.
Yeah, it's not, the way that it happened was an accident, which, we found out, we went into a panic mode here because there's another film, we submitted to a film festival, and they wrote us back and actually reprimanded us by saying, it clearly states we only take premieres, and you have been to 12 film festivals. What are you doing submitting to us? And we were like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And come to find out, there's another independent film named Crawl, we knew about it, but it came out like a year and a half ago. But they're still on the film they're still trying to get more film festivals. And we didn't think they would still be doing that. So we knew our consultant, Peter Broderick, was like, look, this is a problem. You have to change the title. Because other film festivals won't contact you. They'll just throw you in the bin thinking you're that film. And so, we took it online and talked to all the people, and we came up with 10 titles that we thought were great, and everybody kept sending. Nobody would say it publicly, except for Donnie Hall. And Gary King came out and was like, man, you guys got to do that. And we were like, oh, yeah, it's a funny joke, yeah. And then all of a sudden, literally, we would be getting 5 to 10 emails a night going, man, you guys, that would be ballsy. It's great. It's perfect. And because we then did a little test on our own offline with people, and we realized people were like, I would watch that just to see what it is. And Peter Broderick is a very straight-laced, he went to Yale, he wears a sweater, he's always very, it's amazing that he's got this love for gritty independent films, but it just does. And like when we Skype him, he's got 100,000 books behind him, and he's a lawyer and all this kind of stuff. And we were like, Peter, we were thinking about Crawl, Bitch, Crawl. And he was like, I love it. You got to do that. That's brilliant. And we were like, okay.
Well, there you go.
I'd like to say it was a calculated masterminding point on our end, but it wasn't. It was actually one of those things that I think that we both learned over this process, which is just because you lay out these plans, you've still got to keep your mind open to change. With the edit, with the test audiences, with your PR of the movie, if you see it's not working and you go, but we think it really works and it's not, every change that we've made that we never would have dreamed of has only helped us. So that's something we've learned.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Nicole, and early going, now that we're recording everything, we just want to say we love that you're keeping, we love the hair.
Cool.
We love that you're keeping sort of the character and style, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have much choice because it's, the grow out takes forever, but I like it, so I thought I'd keep it for a while. Just have fun with it. If we end up doing anything
Yeah, there's a little.
Oh, I didn't know this was a secret. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Never mind.
Well, we're in talks with another project looking at being funded this time that might require her to have the same haircut.
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
I'll share there.
Okay.
But that's you know, it's still a lot of negotiation, a lot of lawyers and all that kind of stuff. But we're excited. We're very excited.
Wow. Yeah. It's nice to uncover the little tidbits there.
Yeah. Wow.
Get into the secrets, you know.
You guys hear it here first.
Yeah, no, and that's what we're looking to do here. As we're releasing Goodbye Promise, we're just trying to create some very candid conversation. It sort of helps us document the process as we sort of move forward from day to day, and then we're able to put this stuff online, and essentially these kind of conversations become our story. As we sort of take on this very ambitious release. And one thing you brought up there, Oklahoma, is submitting Crawl Bitch Crawl to film festivals, and we want to just kind of hear where you guys stand on that, because on our end, we decided, well over a year ago, like, you know what, we're just not going to do the film festival route. We were just more determined about bringing the work, doing our best to try to figure out a way where we could just go directly to the audience online, and you guys, as we understand it, are waiting on film festivals, and we just want to hear your mindset in terms of what you're looking to do with Crawl Bitch Crawl.
Well, I'll say a couple things, and then I'll let you give your opinion on it, because you as an actor and everything will definitely have a different opinion on it, I'm sure. First of all, I think what you all are doing is brilliant. I really, really do. In fact, I think it's so brilliant. Here's real honesty. I was plus of it. I was like that. I love it. I think it's a perfect way to use a platform like Indiegogo. I just think it's brilliant. And I actually think you guys have a really good shot at really creating a new way of filmmakers to look at distribution. Because, look, we knew when we did this film, we have one goal, and our goal is to make the best film we could on our $10,000 budget, find more money so that we could do a better project. And we know that the only way that that'll happen is to get an audience. I think that's the hardest thing in the world. 10,000 people isn't an audience. You need to be able to get to 50,000 people. If you're going to do it independent and make some money and then be able to rely on those people. So I didn't want to do film festivals. I even told my distribution consultant I'm not interested in them. I hope this doesn't hurt me. I don't care about them. I love going to them. I love seeing films in them. But it's not what's important to me. But my distribution consultant then reminded me that it is and it's very important for us after we passed his test. In other words, he wanted us to do the test audiences and realistically look at how good the film was as far as getting it out there on traditional marketing platforms. And for instance, our last film was not good enough. He was like, you're wasting your time going to film festivals. You should just figure out a way to get as much attention as you can, put it out there online. He was like, let's test Crawl Bitch Crawl and see if audiences really respond. He was talking between 90 and 100% of people that good scores. Luckily, we did.
Congratulations.
Well, I mean, I am very proud of that. That was the first test. He then said, he then shared with us. He said, look, here's the thing. You're right on that edge. You have something that you could make a lot of money on and get attention on. No guarantee. But if you find the right film festival, he's actually having us turn down film festivals. And we've been doing that. And it's the scariest thing on the planet. Okay?
Why is that scary?
Because, twofold. One, our last film, we couldn't get in the Kansas City Cornfield Film Festival. I mean, they literally had 14 rejection letters. Now, I understand our distribution consultant has a film that I've seen that's very good. He's been turned down by all the top film festivals, and it's a great film. So, you know, there's that, you've got to talk to yourself because, you know, you get into this, am I any good? Why is nobody taking this? Why is it not going anywhere? And you question yourself, and then you wake up in the morning and you keep pushing on. And I've learned that film festivals can make that down spiral more profound because, you know, when you start getting rejection letters from film festivals, it's, you know, I don't care who you are, it's not fun. But, so when we got these film festivals coming back to us going, yes, we'd love to do this, we were jumping up and down, we were high-fiving, we were like, somebody likes us. And we got hold of our distribution consultant and he was like, no, you can't tell them no thank you. And first of all, I didn't want to offend them because they liked our film. But what we learned is that your premiere is the most important part of a film festival route. You only have one premiere. And if you start at a film festival that a lot of press and a lot of industry people will not be at, you're ruining your premiere status. Because a lot of these film festivals will only take your film if it's a premiere. So it creates a time problem. It creates if I turn these people down and I don't get in this film festival over here, what have I done? Now I have no film festivals. So, you know, it's a very scary time for us, but at the same time, very exciting. We have a lot of trust. I know that our distribution consultant would never tell us, he's been 100% honest with us, and he feels strongly that one of the 6 that he wants us to premiere at will get us in. But I'm not going to lie to you, we sit here every day and check the email box because turning down a film festival, you take the chance of that film festival going, we'll never accept this person again. Although, I will throw in there real quickly, so far, they understand. They understand it when you like, look, I thought I was going to get in this film festival where I could sell it to make some money on this, and I didn't get in, so I'm going to have to bypass you because I'm trying to get in this one, and they only take premieres. So that's where we're at. I can't give you much more than that because I haven't been in one to go and see if it's really worth it. Our distribution consultant seems to think so. I mean, I don't know how you feel about them.
You know, I just want people to see the movie. So to me, it's like, I'd love to get in because then, you know, people would see it. I don't know. Like, I've always kind of looked at film festivals as a way for indie films to do that. But I know that things are changing, and so really I'm just like, I just want it to get to an audience. So however that happens with me is fine as the actor. I mean, I guess
in a sense we're stuck in what you all always talked about and the guests that you have and even stuff that David and I talk about is it is changing. But somehow that old system is still there and it's still profitable and it's still a way to do it. But I think it comes down to, do they think the film, whether they think it's good or not, do they think the film will fit into that industry? And if they think it might, we can't risk making $300,000 versus making $30,000. You know, if it was a $20,000 risk, if he was like, look, you can go on iTunes and in a month you could make $50,000, $60,000 and gain an audience of 20,000 people. Or you could get into this prestigious film festival and you're looking at a deal at $300,000 to $500,000. Well, that's a life changer for Nicole and I. I mean, that's and we go, okay, what's 6 months? We can try it. We may still not get in, but he seems to think we have a shot at it. The audience seemed to respond well to it. So, you know, we were stuck with, well, let's give it 6 months, and if it doesn't work, then we're going to do an alternate route, you know.
How far into the 6 months are you now? Like, is this 6 months from today, or is this 6 months from a couple months ago?
We should know all our answers by January.
So I'd imagine. So then, you know, then you'll wait for the Sun. So obviously, one of these festivals you're applying to is Sundance. So the aim is one of them is maybe the next program. You know.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say.
All right, you don't have to say.
That might be a good guess.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like 2 film festivals that happen there around that area around the same exact time, maybe across the street. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some film festivals, you know, but
no, you know,
yeah.
You know, we had the same dilemma, you know, because you know, that was the thing. It's like, do we keep waiting for this next festival deadline? You know, we thought about submitting to Tribeca. We thought about submitting to AFI, and then even before this online release, because you know, I mean, a film festival like LA Film Fest, we know we'd have no chance of getting into that one. And people also talked about Toronto as maybe trying Toronto, and we had a producer that looked at the film. He's the producer of The Godfather and Lost in Translation. He's like, you guys should really consider AFI. And so we had to sort of think about that for a little bit before launching this online campaign. You know, it's really hard to say because there's so many factors that go into it. We know at the end of the day we have this film that we made that had no production budget. You know, we sort of pieced it together. We know it's rough around the edges. We also know it has a lot of heart to it. We know it's affecting a lot of people. But in terms of where does that fit in on the festival scale, you know, on our end, we just didn't want to play the waiting game, especially since it took us 3 years to get to this point. So, you know, another 6 months, it's just like, people want to see the film, give it to the people.
Yeah, I mean, look, we even spoke on the phone 5 or 6 months ago, you know, which is, we both talked about that this is, to me, the hardest part of the process, because it is a waiting game. And I feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to mention this person's name, but we just spoke to a filmmaker who submitted to a couple of film festivals, didn't get in them, and so had to wait a year for the ones that he felt was important to get into to premiere. He had to wait a whole year. He had to sit on that project for another year. And I go, you know, that is the process that I really hope in the next 4 or 5 years, platforms like what you're doing and other platforms can really force these film festivals to make the process a little faster, because it's you know, it's a horrible time, I believe, because it is just sitting here waiting, and the gamble is you don't even know if it's going to work. You don't even know if you're going to get in. So, you know, we could wait 6 months, and look, we legitimately could not get in any of these film festivals, and it has no bearing on, you know, our distribution consultant was so candid with us. He was like, look, some years they just decide we only want films that make people feel good, or we only want political films. And it doesn't matter how good your film is, there's a very good shot that if it doesn't fit into their format that year, you're not getting in. So, you know, I don't think we would wait a year. I don't think, you know, when he told us that, I was like, no, I don't think we could. I don't think mentally our creative spirit could do it, because this is a crushing time. It's rejection, it's waiting, it's, are we going to fall flat? Is it just going to disappear? You know, and so you search for stuff every day to try and fill up your time, because I don't know for you all how it is, starting to work on another project while you're still watching over this baby infant that you have that you're trying to show the world.
Exactly.
It's you know, we talk about other projects, we write some, we have ideas, but we're like, you know, we still have to keep focused on this, but there's like 7 days that'll pass and we're just like, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't put out any more footage. Christ, we'll have the whole movie out. Can't put any more photographs. Like, what do we, you know, check out our teaser trailer again. You know, like, it's difficult. It's difficult. But I respect what you guys did. I mean, I will probably have more of a feeling or answer to what you originally asked once I'm through this process.
Yeah.
You know.
For us, we're just happy that it's sort of out there in the world. I mean, it's been 3 years and it's been weighing on our shoulders. And so I think right now we're still in this phase where it's just nice to have it out there in the world. We felt this sense of responsibility. But we did go through it calling theaters, you know, and a lot of theaters didn't get back to us, and sending it out and waiting and waiting. I mean, we're lucky that, you know, we're doing Film Courage on the side, so we have that to kind of occupy our time and as a distraction. But I'm sure it would be really tough. And especially, too, if, like, you owe money on something about the film and there's that whole thing and you want to just, like, get that monkey off your back and deal with that. I'm sure that's got to be really stressful.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I mean, our film, I mean, you guys had no budget. I think we had $10,000 by the time we were done. And we don't really owe that money to anybody right now. I mean, you know, it was our money.
Yeah.
We don't have it. We're broke. You know, so we would like to try and get that back. But I do think that allows us to do things like what you're doing. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we have an investor with $1 million sitting over our shoulder going, I want that $1 million back, and then plus I get the next $1 million, and then you can start making some money. And, you know, because that would be terrifying at the moment. And we just spoke with a filmmaker whom has that concern. You know, his concern is making sure this person gets their money back so that they can use them again and move on. Right now we have a little bit of freedom. We could, and we were going to go a different route until we got those audience test screenings. And we were literally stunned. And so we thought, well, maybe we do have something here and it's worth 6 months. If the audience test screenings would have been 50-50, I think we'd be doing something exactly like what you're doing. Figuring out some way to get it out there in the world and create some talking and create some energy behind it. Take what money we made and move on and make the next film. So, you know. But it's got to be killing you guys. I mean, do you all, when you made the decision, I mean, do you question it ever?
I did. I remember he told me about it. It was like, I don't know, close to midnight or something, and I'm like, and when I heard it was like the $1 million mark, that's what scared me. And then you originally wanted to do it on Kickstarter, and I said, well, not Kickstarter. I said, I think Indiegogo, because $1 million. I mean, what are the chances of that? That's so. Do we question it? Yeah, I mean, we question Film Courage all the time, and we question everything. I mean, it's not easy, any of this, and we have to kind of go back to like why we do it, and that is, well, we love to hear other people's stories, and we love to put up really cool content, and I think that keeps us coming back to a lot of this stuff. And this is kind of an experiment, so we're not really trying to think about the dollar amount. I mean, yeah, it'd be great to wake up and be like, oh, cool, there's X amount of dollars in the account, you know. And maybe we don't have to work for a month or something, but I think it's just more about like trying it as an experiment and growing something, because I think that's what we determined was our main purpose with Film Courage. We like to watch stuff kind of grow. It's really cool, you know.
Yeah. And if I can add to that, I mean, you know, you have to be a complete lunatic to say that, okay, we're going to set $1 million goal. And we're going to just give our film away for $1 and expect to come anywhere near that. So, you know, obviously, you know, I mean, I had this idea in mind. It was inspired last summer. I was, you know, one of the day jobs I had this past summer was as a caregiver. You know, and I haven't talked about this story yet, so I'm sharing with you guys first. But you know, I was a caregiver for a gentleman that's in his 70s. He's all set for the rest of his life in terms of his financial position, and and he was recovering from back surgery. And so, He was very groggy, very sleepy, needed a lot of attention. And so, you know, when he would sleep, I would read the book, The Alchemist. I don't know if you guys have read that. But it's just this wonderful tale of this young shepherd boy who has like this grand dream of, yeah, he just has this grand dream. And he basically has this quest, this long quest of going after this, basically this impossible dream that he has. And so I was reading that book, and I was also thinking about, like, we're getting closer and closer to finishing the film. And I'm like, how do we release this film? So it was like this whole thing turning together, and I started churning with this idea about a year ago, and it was a really weird dynamic for me because here I am, I'm staring every day at a guy that's in his 70s. That has everything everything he needs in life he has, you know, in terms of his whole living condition. And here I am just looking at him thinking, like, you know, am I ever going to get to that point where I have everything I need around me? I mean, of course he wants his health, he wants to be back on his feet, so that was what he was dealing with. But it's just like, you know, you put so much energy into the kind of stuff that we're doing, you know, and so, you know, I've seen a lot of death in the last couple of years. You know, we've seen a lot of people come and go. A lot of people close to us. We've had our pets die, and it's just like, you know, as independent filmmakers, we don't get a lot of chances to just go out and just do something crazy. So I feel like a lunatic to say, okay, this is what we're gonna do, because there's no way you can pitch anyone that idea and have them think that you're sane. But at the same time, you have it in you where you want to wake up and have life mean something and go after something, you know. And I know it doesn't mean anything to the world, but it's just like, you know what? I'd rather wake up every day, put my energy into something, and at least feel like I'm going after something. Right. So right now it feels good. It feels good to get less sleep, to have a purpose, and even if we, you know, another thing about setting the goal is just like, especially in Indiegogo, is like, it doesn't matter what we end up with, you know, because at least we get to fight every day, and that's the great thing about that. So, yeah, that's just some of the story, and those are some of my thoughts.
That's interesting how you put that, because normally for a campaign, to us, it's something we don't enjoy doing, because it's. You know, it's you want to do this project, and can you raise the money because you want to do the project, so it's stressful and you've got to work at it every single day, and you just want to go, I just want to go make my project. But, yeah. You know, and you know, it's a lot of work. It's interesting because what you're saying, you enjoyed this part of it. I guess it's because your goal is not to hit $1 million. Your goal is to get it out there, see what you can do, see what kind of energy you can create with it. Which, again, I think it's a great idea. I really do, because in my crazy mind, when I saw it, I went, you just became Lionsgate. Indiegogo is now Lionsgate. People go and pay money to see your movie. And they're not going to a movie theater. They're not going through Lionsgate. They're not going through Redbox. They're going through Indiegogo. And it's perfect. And I agree with you. Kickstarter would not have been the way. Because, look, if you have 30,000 people that come through that want to see it, that's great. I mean, that's perfect. And you reap the benefits, plus you gain an audience, plus people talk about it. I just think it's great. I think you've kind of turned their fundraising campaign into a distributor. And that's why I'm hoping it works. Because I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, no, that's the way we looked at it, you know. Because honestly, when you look at, you know, when you look at our options, I mean, you know, listen to what you guys are saying. It's just like, I mean, it almost sucks being an independent filmmaker. I hate to say that, but it's just like, you know, as we are looking at our options, honestly, it's like, look at what film festivals, you know, it's just so frustrating in terms of the wait that you guys are talking about. Like, I have to wait 6 months, you know, like, so like you said, you're churning out the same screenshots, the same video, it's just like, you're not able to sort of, empower your audience to get behind your efforts and really do something that really means something. So, and the whole thing with, you know, just film festivals, the waiting game, not knowing whether you're going to get in.
Right.
And then there's a whole sort of like, there's a whole bunch of things in terms of when you actually do get in. You know, just because you get into a film festival doesn't mean it guarantees like a prime slot. You know, you might get into your premiere still could be at like 10 in the morning, you know, and you could still have just a couple people in the audience. So you could be all geared up. There's a lot of money in terms of the submission fee. I mean, that's minor, but then in terms of traveling to the film festival, investing that full week, promoting your film, trying to get people to buy tickets, and then when they do, that money doesn't go in your pockets, it goes into the pockets of the film festival. So, you know, and then on top of that, you might not be allowed to sell DVDs and things like that. Some festivals like don't want you doing that sort of stuff, so it's not really conducive to the filmmaker. So for us, that option was really frustrating for us. And then on the traditional distribution side, it's like you're going to turn your film over. Did you want to jump in with a couple thoughts?
I was just thinking, like, too, if you wanted to four-wall it at a theater, a week run is going to be thousands of dollars. And, yeah, maybe they'll take it because you're going to give them that money. Who's to say you're going to get seats in there, especially if it's not your hometown, you know? Right. And we called around, and they were just great theaters in awesome parts of the country. And we're like, oh, how cool would it be to screen here? And it's like $6,000 for a week. And there's no chance we'd ever make that money back. No chance. So it's just like, yeah, it would be really prestigious and it would stroke the ego to have it screened there, but it's going to be a money loser.
Yeah. So
and that's what I was trying to say, which is when I told our consultant I don't care about film festivals. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm this way. But it doesn't mean a damn thing to me if a film has those insigmas on it or best of... It just doesn't mean anything to me. I don't pick movies out to watch because of that. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything because of that. When I sat down with my consultant, we looked at the same thing you guys are talking about. I mean, it's the same thing. As fast as everything is changing, and that's what's frustrating. I know what's going to happen, but it's not there. You know, it's not like we can call up Redbox ourselves and say, hey, look, let's put this on Redbox. And they go, yeah, look, you can log online, put it up yourself, and, you know, link. We're not there yet. So what do we have? The same things you just talked about. I mean, that's it. Except for what you all are doing. I find that fascinating. But I go, we told them right up front, we have two goals. We want to reach an audience, and what's our best chance at reaching the largest audience, and we would like to start our careers. Meaning, I don't even know if we could survive as a couple going through another 20 years of not ever having a dollar, not being able to do anything, and except this, which we love doing, but we're like, you know, we that same thing you were talking about. You know, it's like, are we ever going to be able to pay the electric bill? Like, do we always have to have stuff cut off? Like, and so, you know, you begin to go, how do we start making some money? Well, neither one of us, well, I'll say me, I know you love shoes, but neither one of us care about being rich. And now I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say. We would love to be rich, but only because it would allow us to do a whole bunch of projects. But we go, we've got to be able to eke out a living at this because it's insane. It is insanity to wake up every morning and go, I've made a movie. Now how do I get 100 people to see this? And what do I have to do? And I got to pay to make, that's what upsets me about the theaters. It's like, what, I've got to pay for people to come see it? Hell, I'd rather go online and say, I'll pay everybody $2 to watch my movie. What, you know, is it just well, it was in a theater. And I think a lot of people want that. I think that makes a lot of people feel good. I would be terrified. I'd be going, how are we going to fill up this theater for a week in Idaho? We don't know anybody. How are we going to do that? Right. Because you know what we're competing with. Look, everybody laughs and jokes about all the campaign trailers that Hollywood does. Now we see trailers for trailers. We're competing with people who have a movie also, but have millions of dollars to motivate people to go out and interact with that film. We don't have any way to reach that many people to motivate them to get involved with our story. So we have to do it one person by one person. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for liking it. And then you create a relationship. It's very frustrating. Now I know it's different for you because you can go off and make other films.
Yeah, but I think
and be in films.
I'm also invested in Crawl Bitch Crawl because it's not like I just showed up, acted, and walked off. Like, I've been pretty invested in it from the beginning, so
right.
I want to see it succeed just as much as you, because it kind of feels like my baby. I mean, I know you wrote it and you're it's yours, but I still feel that way, and I'm really proud of it, so I really do want people to see it, so I can still definitely relate to...
Well, how, just what David had asked, how did you feel before we spoke with Peter about should we have gone film festivals, should we have skipped film festivals, should we have gone maybe just straight to video on demand and jumped in that arena, or did you want film festivals?
I kind of had thought film festivals. I was a little nervous because of our experience last time with film festivals, but I felt like this film was better as far as, you know what I mean. I like,
right.
You know what I mean. But I felt like we had a shot at film festivals this time, so I was kind of hoping for it, but if Peter had said, that's not the fastest way to an audience, or that's not going to guarantee you an audience, I would have been like, fine, whatever, I just want to get to an audience. So, but I was kind of excited when he was like, I think we should start there, because I just think that would be a fun experience anyways. Like,
yeah, I got to tell you, did you guys do any type of test audience at all? Did you, like a screening or a...
For like a handful of people that we trusted them to give us honest feedback, but not like low blow. Like we wanted people that were going to be constructive with it, so we did. Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, for us, I think literally what has kept both of us going and our energy high is sitting through those 3 audiences and experiencing what it's really like to see strangers interact with your film. I literally would tell any filmmaker to do that for the rest of my life. Even if they threw all the comments away, the energy that we have to go, I mean, it was almost better than sex. It was unbelievable. We both looked like 3-year-olds at Christmas. We were like just the energy, the nerves, and then watching the audience like high-five each other and everything. We were like, I want this again. And if I have to wait 8 months to get there to sit in front of an audience to see this, it's worth it. If we hadn't had that right now, I think I'd still be drunk. I think I literally, I don't know what I'd be doing. This is a horrible, horrible time, I think, for filmmakers. I think it's just, because, you write the film and you've got all these positive, creative energies, then you film the film and you've got all these creative people around you and everybody believes in it, then afterwards all the hopes are high and then smack, nothing. There's nothing creative going on. It's in everybody else's hands. It's you're just sitting there going, what do I do? What can I do? Because we both like to tackle something. If there's a problem, we want to get in there and be like, okay, what do we do to fix it? What can we can't do anything. I can't call up the film festivals and go, hey, what, do you need some help watching films? Like, what's going on?
It help. We think you should do this one and slide ours in there.
Right. Yeah, it's just, I feel for, in other words, again, that's the thing. I got to give props to David Baker on this. He is spot on the fact that that's what YouTubers get to experience that we don't. They get that immediate response. They make something, they put it out, and within days, they've got all these people liking it, hating it, bitching about it, loving it, sharing it. So they get that kind of feeling. We get that feeling like, what, once every 2.5 years? You make the movie, you go to the opera, and then you got to sit and hope that an audience shows up. I don't know why we do this. It's the most insane. It's like hitting your head against the wall and going, I love this. I love it. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, and I don't want to like totally bash film festivals. I mean, the stuff that you guys are talking about, you know, certainly, you know, that's you know that's a big, you know, being with the audience, meeting people. You know, you might meet like other cast and crew that you might work with down the line. So there's a lot of benefits to that. So we're not totally trying to take away from every aspect of that, but you know, in terms of YouTube, we just hosted a panel yesterday at Holly Shorts. It was called YouTube Domination. Do you want to share any thoughts on that, Karen?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted you to share thoughts on that.
Okay.
Yeah, just in terms of what they're saying.
We just talked to like, what was it, 5 YouTubers? And they were all like, they all had different types of channels. And just how they got started and just, you know, how many hours a day they put in and all sorts of stuff. So it was really cool. I mean, some of them I think are making a living off of it through like AdSense and product placement and stuff like that. We didn't want to delve in too much to that because that's sort of their personal financial business. But you know, just finding out about sort of what it takes, and it was interesting. We could have gone another hour I think talking about it, but
yeah, that's what we're seeing with this YouTube generation. You know, is they're spending, you know, instead of spending 3 years working on one film, they're spending 3 years every week putting up content on YouTube, and they're growing that audience with that content, and you know, and they're just sharpening their skill set every week, and yeah, you know, a lot of them, you know, some of them are making 6 figures, some of them are making, I think they said teacher salaries or things like that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, but yeah, like
I'll take a teacher salary.
What's a salary?
And they're you know, so here we are. We're caught between that. We're caught between the studios who have the mega bucks, that have the mega millions to roll out their films that way, and it's really hard for us to compete in that space. And then in the other end of the spectrum, you have these YouTubers who maybe they don't have the polished filmmaking skills or you know, skill set, but they have the audience, you know, and then we find ourselves kind of like in between those two worlds where, you know, maybe we have some of the skill set that the professionals have, but we don't have the audience that the YouTubers have.
Well, not only that, too, one of the girls, America Young, she's on, was it Stan Lee's, was it War of Heroes? I mean, she's done Comediva. She has this one web series that she's a part of that has like millions of views and like 500,000 subscribers. And she was saying, I think, that she submitted a video to some person and they said, you know what, it's great, but it needs to actually be more gritty. People like to discover it so it looks like viral and it looks kind of almost like a home video. So that was interesting about YouTube videos, that they almost like them to be a little more like shaky camera and just sort of out of focus and stuff.
Yeah. You know, I'll back that up in that I used to follow somebody and it was really fun following their channel, and then you could tell they got a lot of money and it became very production level, and it kind of lost its spark. It kind of lost what drew me to it. You know, it felt like a kid in his basement doing this, and it was really good, and then all of a sudden, after 2 years, you could tell they were making money, and it was a studio, and it became everything, and it lost something. But, you know, look, I agree with you, David, I do, but for me, personally, I don't want to do YouTube videos. And that's not me putting them down, because I follow, what was it, Ray William Johnson? I mean, you know, every week I'm there. I spend a lot of my time on YouTube. I still love to tell a story in the long-form content. I don't know if it's because I grew up, you know, with films like The Godfather and stuff like that. But I still consider that an art. And I do feel privileged that I do get to try to do that. I thought, because I know you guys are probably heard about what David's doing with the City of Sin thing. Great project, and I think I'm going to be lucky enough to be able to maybe do one of the stories, and I would do that, and I would love it, and I'd put everything into it. But I also went, that's not what I want to do. You know, I don't want to tell stories in that format. I still love making a movie, and if I have to make one every 5 years, that's fine with me. It does get frustrating because I have so many stories I want to try and tell. I still really feel privileged, and I know this sounds all screwy and hokey, but I do feel that the reason it's so hard is sometimes because it really is, you've really got to be good to hit a mass audience at it. And I like that challenge of it. And I'm the first one that can say, I thought Isolation was the next Clockwork Orange. And when I stepped back at it and looked at it, I was like, this has a bunch of problems. But that fueled my fire to go, okay, let me do it again. And I see what I've done, and I go, I've still probably got another year before I'm going to be in a position to start on the next one, but I can't wait to get to the next one. And if somebody gave me the opportunity right now and said, right now, if you would do a YouTube channel just for 2 years, you could build up 1 million people, I would probably turn it down. And that's not saying that I think that film is more important than YouTube. It's just, I love movies. I love the long form movies. So I have to remind myself why I'm doing this. And it's frustrating and it's tough and it's hard and we may never make a dime at it. But as hard as it is, I still have this weird pride of like, I'm doing what Paul Thomas Anderson is doing. The difference is I don't have the budget that he has. I don't have 100 people working behind me, but I've still made a movie, and I could sit in a room with him and look him right in the eye, and I think he's one of the best directors ever, and I'd have no problem talking shop with him. None whatsoever. Because I feel like I'm in that business. I don't have a studio behind me, and I don't have a large audience, and he's got a larger bank account than me, but when it comes to the artwork itself, the film, I did one. I completed it. So I don't lose sight of that. I agree with what you're saying. There is changes coming, and I do think eventually the younger generation going to a movie theater is not going to be as magical as it was for me. They're just going to be, their magic is going to be watching it on a 30-inch IMAX screen. And I'll be fine with that. I've got no problem. I'm not like David Lynch, who's like, you know, watching a movie on a phone is horrible. Hell, I watch movies on my phone all the time. Doesn't bother me at all. But I still want to make a movie. I don't want to make a 30-minute movie. I don't want to make a 15-minute movie. I want to make a movie. I love it. I love that art form. So, you know, there's that.